Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Perfect Patient's first webinar of the year. I have Jessica Price, our Google Ads specialist, with us today. We are going to be focusing on PPC top 5 mistakes for chiropractors who are running their own Google Ads. Jessica, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with Google Ads, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been running Google Ads since, oh my gosh, 2006. I'm dating myself. But I've been doing it. I specialize in chiropractic ads with Perfect Patients for the past 8 years. And over that time, I have seen so many accounts, some really big wins and some really big fails. And I have audited, I don't know, thousands of accounts at this point and really know what chiropractors are up against when they're advertising. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So key couple things I noticed you mentioned there. So you've been doing Google ads and then you mentioned specifically chiropractic ads. So there's a difference.
Absolutely. So I come from an e-commerce background where you're selling a specific product online. So it doesn't really matter where you are selling them or where the person's located who are buying them. But with chiropractic, it is really imperative that you're getting your ads in front of people who are in a very specific location, who will actually come to you and become patients. So there's a big difference between brick and mortar, service and e-commerce where you can advertise anywhere.
Great. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll get into that. So what we're doing today, we're going to cover 5 top mistakes that we see that you've seen time and time again in all of these, thousands of campaigns you've audited. We want to give you some tips and tricks. If you are running your own campaign, if you've thought about doing Google ads, if you've done them before, if you are thinking about doing them, this could be very helpful in deciding, whether to do your own, what things you can change, fine tune, or if you want to hand the reins over to someone else. So stay tuned to the end. We've got a special offer for you guys as well. If you do decide that you'd like for us to help you out, we'll go over that as well. So top 5 mistakes, the things we're going to cover here. Smart campaigns is the first one that we're going to go over, whether or not to use them, why they may or may not be actually in your favor. As you just explained, a chiropractor and the type of ads that you need to do. Obviously, your keyword targeting, your location targeting, how to set a realistic budget. What does realistic look like? How much should you spend and why? And then, a lot more there. Landing pages, ad copy. We'll cover a lot of stuff here. So good stuff coming. Jess, why don't we start with smart campaigns? So I know you see this a lot. I know, I'm going to do it myself. I log in. I'm just going to run this smart campaign because it says it's smart, and that's what Google's recommending that I do. Should I do that as a chiropractor?
No. Absolutely.
Yes, that's your tip.
Don't do it. No, the majority of self-run campaigns are smart campaigns, and that's because it is the kind of basic entry level, do-it-yourself offering that Google Ads has, because the Google Ads platform is not self-explanatory. It is, people have been doing it for 20 plus years. And still, we learn stuff. So it is just your entry level, mom and pop, do it yourself. And it can work okay, better in e-commerce because you don't have to really target down. You don't have to be as careful with keywords and things like that. But it just doesn't have the capabilities that you need to be able to run a successful chiropractic campaign at such a hyper local level.
Okay. What are some of the things that's missing? Like, what does it limit you on?
Yeah, well, so I mean, it's limited on everything, but it limits you on how you can handle your keywords. It does themes. So what you do is it says, what do you want to advertise? And you put in, oh, I want to advertise chiropractic or sciatica pain or spinal decompression. And Google takes that and thinks it's really smart and says, oh, okay, it's a theme. They're medical. So somebody might type in ophthalmologist near me. And because it's medical, Google might show your ad for that. And so themes are not really the way you want to go. You want to be much more specific in your keywords, and smart campaigns just don't allow for that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, definitely. So themes, so you can't pick your specific keywords.
Right.
It's a tough
It's
one.
it says that you are, but when we look, we can see what search queries have triggered your ads, and it really is a theme. So really being the overarching is medical.
What about tracking on the smart campaign? Like, are you able to set exactly what you want? If I'm paying money to run ads, I want to know what converted, right? So how many people actually called from my ad or took action? Can I look at that
Right.
on
Yeah.
smart campaigns?
No, and conversions are actually inflated in a smart campaign because Google wants it to look really great for you, right? So that, it looks like you are being seen a lot, and look, you're getting all these leads, but they're not actual leads. So what we consider to be a lead is a phone call or an online appointment request. And yes, Google will show you phone calls, but all the other um, conversions that they automate and put on there are not actual leads for us. It's, somebody, they'll decide that, oh, somebody who went to the landing page, well, that is intent. And so it counts as a conversion. And you can kind of look and break it down, but it's very important when you are doing a Google Ads campaign to be able to have Google's algorithm be able to make it so that we're focusing on these conversions. These are what matter to us. I don't care if somebody drives by my practice. I don't care if they go and look at my site 4 times. That's not a conversion. I care about leads, and I care about new patients. Does that
Right.
make
So that's kind of, I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed with some of the data available to us, right? So we'll get a report. This is what I hear a lot in conversations with clients is, yeah, they send me a report, but I don't know what this means. So I'm looking at, I've got this many thousand impressions. A lot of people say that's really good. I got this many clicks, right? So what on a report, what would they, what is important?
sense? So, um, I mean, all of it is impressions and clicks and conversions all matter. Conversion rate is what we look at, and the number of actual leads that you got. I don't care if you are seeing 1,400 times, you're seeing 12,000. If you're seeing 12,000, but you're seen by the wrong people, it doesn't matter, right? And so what we would want is we want to have the clicks, which is what you pay for with Google Ads. We want them to be as good a quality as possible so that the majority of them convert. So you have the highest conversion rate possible, because it doesn't matter if you have a bunch of impressions and a bunch of clicks, but you only got 5 calls. That is not a campaign that is going to give you a positive ROI.
Right. So if I set a smart campaign and then it comes back and says, well, we've shown it's been seen by 12,000 eyeballs. You have this many impressions, but I only got 100 clicks.
Right.
That's indicating to me a very low quality of who it's being shown to.
Right.
And then from those clicks, I would really need to focus on who's actually taking action to see, okay, maybe I got your attention, but so expanding my reach or doing more keywords might not always benefit me, because then you're getting into not as quality of targeting, right?
Right. And that's what a lot of people do, is they will end up adding more keywords because, oh, well, we only got this many conversions. And so we need to um, be seen more. You
Okay.
actually want the right people. And there is search volume for chiropractic. We see this over and over and over again, that it's the quality of the search query triggering your ad that is low. And part of that, I know we'll go into the keywords and stuff in a minute, but they're all they're all connected. But knowing how to do your keywords and negative keywords so that you are really optimizing your who's seeing your ad is really important. And it's difficult to do in a smart campaign.
Okay. So smart campaigns, not the best idea for chiropractic. It's giving you phrase match instead of exact. So potentially you're wasting money and impressions on generalized theme of a keyword you would have indicated. What about location targeting? Does it let you
Yeah.
specify where you want your ads to go?
Sort of. So it says it does. So you can set, I want, a 5-mile radius around my practice. But that's telling Google in a smart campaign where you would like the clicks to come from. That doesn't necessarily mean it's where the clicks are coming from. And it doesn't allow you to have negative location targeting. So you can't say, I do not want my ads shown here. You can only tell them where you would like them shown. But if there's not a lot of search volume, or Google thinks it can get a click for, over here, it's going to go outside of that. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. So it would potentially say, well, somebody's searching over here. I'll serve them the ad because they're going to click, which doesn't give a very good user experience because they're like, wait, I'm not even in. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Location targeting is limited. So you're basically asking them to show your ads. It doesn't necessarily mean that's always what happens. Okay, that's frustrating. Um, how about ad budget on a smart campaign? Are you able to really specify, like, I know when it comes to ads, when I'm looking, there's 3 on the top, there's 2 or 3 on the bottom, there's page 2. Are you able to say, hey, I want my ad only on the top?
No. So you can put your daily budget in there. So this is what I want to spend per day. And daily budget is weird for us humans to think about because we think of budgeting in months, right? But Google does a daily budget and it does not roll over. So if you say you want to spend $50 a day, if you don't spend that $50, it doesn't roll over to the next day. It's done. But with a full campaign like we run, we can specify that we only want to be shown at the very top of the page. And so the absolute number 1 position in the search results. And in a smart campaign, all you can set is what you want to spend per day. You can't specify what you would spend per keyword. You can't say, I want top of page. And it doesn't tell you in the reporting where you were shown. So a lot of those impressions, you could be shown on page 2, bottom of page 1, likely past that if somebody were to scroll.
So I know in my conversations with a lot of these campaigns with clients doing this, so they'll look at reports, let's say, and when you're analyzing data, you see the impressions. So a certain click-through rate is what you want. It means that your ad was compelling, it was shown in the right place. So if in a smart campaign you're looking at data and you have a high number of impressions, a low number of clicks, that doesn't always directly relate to your ad copy. It could be that you were just shown in a poor placement. Is that
Right.
right? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, if you had your keywords really dialed in and you still had a low click-through rate, then there is probably something wrong with the ads. But when in a smart campaign, it's an amalgam of all of it.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, smart campaigns, guys. So chiropractors running your own campaigns. The smart campaign is Google's easy option. Maybe it's better than nothing, I suppose, but it sounds like there's a lot of limitations that unfortunately could result in some poor quality or poor return on investment. So cautionary tale,
What
probably.
so many times where somebody says, oh, I'm running my own campaign and it's doing really well. And I have a Google rep and they're giving me suggestions. And then we go and do an audit and the impressions are really, really high. And they think that that's important because the Google rep has told them that's important. And then when we start really digging into what those conversions are, we can tell them they're not actual leads. And so then, we can break it down. But um, yeah, we have seen several times there are ones that are run really well, but we also know we can do it better because of having a greater capability to really target into where we want to be.
Right. Okay. So almost inevitably, you are likely seeing a lower conversion rate than you would, a lower return on investment, even if it's doing okay. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Okay. That's number one mistake. Running smart campaigns. So we definitely recommend against it. I forgot to mention at the top of this, guys, we're gonna have somebody monitoring questions. So if you have any questions that come in, please type them in the chat. And we have somebody that's gonna monitor those. Just for purpose of time, we probably won't address them on the webinar itself, but we will get back to you on any questions. So if anything sparks up, please type it in and we'll do that. Okay, so number two, we talked a little bit or briefed on it, keyword targeting and location targeting. So this is mistake number two that you see a lot. We talked a little bit in the SMART campaign how you don't have as much control. What do you see? What are the mistakes we're seeing with location and keywords?
Yeah, the biggest mistake I see with keywords is people targeting symptoms and targeting instead of actual, chiropractic keywords. So chiropractor near me, chiropractor, Atlanta. The way people search, people are targeting the conditions that they help with. And what we see with that is that search volume is lower, but at the same time, these are more top of funnel type searches. People are trying to self-diagnose. They're looking for home remedies. They're trying to find an essential oil that will, magically get rid of their sciatica or whatever it is. And so they're trying to target keywords that don't have a lot of search volume. Not saying that we can't do, some ads specifically to that, but if you have a general chiropractic ad, you don't want to be targeting like sciatica keywords. You want it to all flow together.
So I think I've heard you explain this to me a number of times that the word that I love that you use is intent. So it's safe to assume that if I go to Google and I type in chiropractor near me, the intent is very obvious that I am looking for a chiropractor very near me. Um, so obviously those seem like the better keywords to go after. But when it comes to, I mean, chiropractic does address a lot of these conditions and keywords and symptoms, right? So headache, are there strategies for, is it headache relief? Is it, are there terms that you can use with these conditions, or are the condition type searches more of a after we've focused mostly on, the high intent chiropractor near me, open today, that kind of stuff?
I mean, we have clients that we run condition ad groups on but we definitely want to focus on that lowest hanging fruit first. When somebody types in chiropractor near me or chiropractor open today, we see that a lot. They have a need and they're trying to fill it. And so getting all of those is great. And we also, I know a lot of, most people know that, okay, I have back pain. I need to go see a chiropractor. And you look it up that way. You don't search for sciatica doctor in Atlanta, right? So the way we need to think about keywords is the ones that would have, the intent of taking action. And higher funnel keywords, something like sciatica relief. That's not a bad keyword, but you're going to have a much lower conversion rate on it because it encompasses so much more. They could be looking, for
A stretch.
stretch. Right.
Yeah,
But they don't put that into Google. So,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's great. What about car accident chiropractic searches? That
I
one's we a
this,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
we talk about this a lot. I talk about this with my clients every single day. So, car accident searches, first of all, there's not many. Second of all, the cost per clicks are incredibly high because it is overrun with lawyers and insurance agents and all of the things,
Sure.
ambulance chasers. So it's not just chiropractors. But what we have seen is that, because we get to listen to client calls and hear what people are asking. And so I know when I'm reviewing an account and I listen to a call, I know what keyword they put into Google to trigger the ad to make that call. And 9 times out of 10, they will type chiropractor near me. And then they get on the phone, they say, "Hey, I was in a car accident."
Right.
Yeah, it's just how people are searching. They know that they need to see a chiropractor. And think about this, when you are in an accident, if the police need to be involved, obviously the first person you call is the police. Who's the second person you call? Your insurance agent.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you what to do. And so they're going to say, "Hey, you have 48 hours to go see a chiropractor," or whatever it is in your area. Um, but so, okay, they told me I need to see a chiropractor. If I don't have one, how am I going to look that up? I'm not going to look up car accident chiropractor. We know that chiropractors handle car accident victims.
Okay. So would that be more specific? So instead of bidding on that keyword and kind of spending $100 or more on a click to go up against a lawyer, um, it'd be better to bid on those general chiropractic searches and then make sure that ad copy mentions that you specialize in auto injury or in car accidents or have that on the landing page. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Um, okay, so then kind of lump together with the keywords. So keywords, you want to focus on intent, your high volume keywords. Are they actually searching for this term? Um, what about location? Like, what are some of the mistakes we see with, I talk to chiropractors all the time. They're like, but I pull patients from an hour away, from 2 hours away. I have patients who travel from over here. And so if they know in their patient base that they're seeing people that travel 45 minutes, why wouldn't they target it in ads?
Yeah. Right. Because somebody who's looking for a chiropractor on the internet does not have a relationship with you already. And so, when talking with chiropractors, I hear that also. And then I'll ask them a little bit more and they'll tell me, "Oh, well, they moved, or they've been a patient for a long time, or oh, their
Referral.
mother."
Yeah.
Right. And I'm willing to travel much further if if somebody's referred me, they told me that they're great, or um if I was a patient and I moved away. But for somebody on who's just looking on the internet and they're just looking for somebody who's open today who can, give them relief, they don't know anything about you. A good rule of thumb, and this is super general, is a 5 mile radius. That's about how far people will travel. If you are in Atlanta, like me, you're not going to go that far because that would be 45 minutes. But that's a good measuring stick, is about 5 miles.
Do
And then
you
that
for the
that
Oh, sorry,
and
go
that goes
ahead.
back to keywords, because when you are targeting such a small location, that search volume is much less too, right? So you want high volume keywords. So I mean, there might be one car accident search versus hundreds and hundreds a day of chiropractic.
Okay. So for those areas, like you said, with Atlanta or some of the more populated, dense areas, Obviously 5 miles is not great. Is there a maybe a time radius that you guys default to too? Like, is it a 10 minute, 15, 20?
About 15, and if you're in a more rural area, if you are you are the hub of where, everything is, then you could obviously go a bit further. But
Yeah.
um, generally 5 miles. Atlanta, I would do 2.5 miles. That would be the max.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so what about, you mentioned earlier on the smart campaigns, you're limited in adding negative location targeting. And what do you mean by that? And how, like, what should they be making sure is set? If they're not doing the smart campaign, they're setting all this up.
You can exclude locations. And so we exclude every other country, we exclude other zip codes. We really tighten it in so that we are only being seen where we are telling Google that we want to be seen.
Right.
And do the same thing. If it, um, in a full Google Ads campaign, if you don't use negative location targeting, we can tell it where we want, but we can't tell it where, I mean, we need to tell it where we don't want, so that it has an understanding of its boundaries, because it will show you further away.
Okay. So in a smart campaign, you're asking, please, this is where I'd like for it to go. In setting up your own, you're saying, I'm going to set up negative keywords so that literally you only have the option.
Right.
Okay,
To show it here. Correct.
great. Great. And is that the same with keywords, right? So you have keywords, so it's not broad phrase match, I think you said, or themes. Themes is what you said. So on keyword targeting, if you're not doing a smart campaign, you're able to specify exactly the keyword, but then does it still, do you have to add the negative keywords as well as the negative location?
So I mean, in smart campaigns, you do have the ability to add negative keywords, but most people running them themselves don't either know it exists, or they don't quite know how to use it effectively. By going through every search query that triggers your ad, and saying, yes, this is good, no, this is bad. Yes, we do a lot of keyword optimization. That's probably where the majority of our time reviewing accounts is focused, because we want to make sure that the search queries that are triggering your ads are the best possible. So if we see something in the search queries that triggered ads that is not quite right, we will add it as a negative keyword. And over the years here, we've built a vast list of keywords that are negatives for everyone. A few of them being like YouTube, video, TikTok, things like that. They're not actually searching for the chiropractor to help them. We have a list of hundreds that we automatically apply to campaigns when we set them up, and then we continue to add to them as we optimize the campaign, and as we see data coming in.
Great. So what you're saying is month one, week one, I'm probably not going to see as great of results as I might see on month two, because month one, we've analyzed all this data that, okay, maybe I did get a rogue click on a keyword that I wasn't necessarily intending. And now you guys have identified that, you've hit that, added that to the negative. And that means that budget is then available to spend on the better keywords than, okay.
I always say that an ad campaign is like wine. It needs to age, it needs to breathe. Google's algorithm is learning, and we are feeding, as data comes in, and then we are telling it yes or no, and moving it along to where we want it to be. So that takes time, that takes data, that takes clicks and searches. You can set it up properly so that you're not showing for an ophthalmologist. It's
Sure.
just
That should be simple. Okay. All right. So number two, we put together the keyword targeting, location targeting mistakes. So sounds like the bigger mistakes are not taking advantage of negative location, negative keywords. So making sure those are very clear, making sure that Google You're not just asking nicely to Google, you're very specifically saying, this is where I want my ad shown, and this is what I want it shown for, not here and not these.
Right.
And then another location one, big mistake is going too far. So targeting too large of a radius. So I know you've told me a lot of times in auditing these, what ends up happening is they get the click and then the patient goes, oh, I'm not going that far. That is too
Right.
far. And then they click off, and then you just paid $15 for that click. And then they go to the next person that's 2 minutes from their house,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
exactly.
And then keywords, the mistake or often that you often see is that the keywords sometimes are too condition focused and don't have as much intent. So we're looking at too broad of number of conditions where that could mean any sort of thing. They're looking for a home remedy, self-diagnosis versus, hey, I'm looking for a chiropractor. I'm looking for this particular service here, and that's going to help your budget and your return on investment go farther.
Right. Right.
Excellent. Awesome. Okay, so mistake number 3 that we see once or
Budget.
twice. only a couple times have we ever seen this.
Budget. Yes.
Budget. Okay, so all right. So here's what I hear a lot of times. I have spoken to a bunch of other agencies, and they start me out at $1,000 a month, or they have an option for $300, or I can just throw this on there, and it's the same for everybody, everywhere, all over.
That is
What
absolutely
say
false.
ye?
Lying are liars. So there's a
So,
lot that goes into cost per clicks. And, part of that is the competition in your area. Part of that is how many people are searching. And part of that is how your quality score. So how good your ad is, how is it speaking to people?
so
But
sorry, real fast, Jess. So when you say cost per click, this means
okay,
Google is setting, they say, okay, you want chiropractor near me. You're going to agree to pay this cost to me every time someone clicks on your ad. That's cost per click, correct?
right. So how Google makes its money is by the clicks, not by your conversions. And so um, you pay Google for each click. And the cost per click varies in every market. Every single time someone searches, it's a different price because it's based on how many people are searching at that moment in that area that you're looking for, and how many people are also wanting to have their ad shown. So it's it's an auction price. But a good rule of thumb to start any campaign is a minimum of 10 clicks per day to be able to get some leads off of it. So to really see an ROI. It like again, it depends. The cost per click in one area could be $10 a click. One could be, if you're in Denver, Colorado, you're looking at like $35, $40 a click.
Yeah, yeah.
And to have your ad shown at the very top of the page, and to have it shown during peak hours, which is, business hours when you're open. If you are running ads in the middle of the night where somebody is looking, cost per clicks are lower, there's fewer people looking, and it's not as valuable. So when you are at during practice hours, during the 40-hour work week, and there's going to be a lot more search volume, so you're going to have a lot, the cost per click is going to go up, but you have a much higher chance of them converting, because they're not going to call you at 11. They know you're not open at 11. They're not going to fill out a form at 11. They're laying in bed saying my back hurts because I have a crappy mattress.
Okay. So so having kind of a blanket budget doesn't really make sense, because like you just said, if I'm in Denver, if I'm in Chicago, $1,000 is $500. I mean, that's not going to get me anywhere.
It's just like home prices. I mean, the
Okay.
cost of a home in Atlanta is going to be very different than the cost of a home in San Diego. Same
Yeah,
home is very different.
sure.
So it is very market dependent.
Okay, so let's say um, my cost per click in the area, high volume keywords, I want top of page placement is a great price of $10.
Right. So your
So,
daily fetch to be $100 minimum.
okay. So a lot of times, what we see, unfortunately, right, and how I like to explain it or how I understand it very well is, um, so if my budget is $25 a day, I'm going to
Okay.
give $25. I'm going to spend $500 a month. Here you go, Google, have at it. But my cost per click is $10. That means I get two chances, two. So my
Right.
ad gets clicked twice a day. What else happens? I know you've explained this. You've said my ad does isn't even always shown. Is that right? Because Google says, "Oh, well, you can only get 2 clicks. We're gonna not show your ad right now because we gotta do you a favor."
Yeah. So in this example, and you have $25. And so the average cost per click is 10. So in theory, you could get two, and then $5 would just be not
Nothing.
used.
Yeah.
So what people will do is say, "Ooh, we only have $25. This is 11.50. We're not going to show the ad. We're going to hold on to that budget in the hopes that there will be one that is lower later in the day." And so a lot of times, and then that can just not happen. So you don't spend your budget. We've seen, um,
Because they
oh,
don't even show the ad.
right, because they can't afford the click, so they won't show the ad.
So
And so
even though I said, "Hey, here's my budget, spend it," Google, they say so they would risk not even showing your ad because
they
your campaign is flagged as a limited budget campaign.
correct.
Ooh, okay.
And we've seen that quite a few times where people have said, "Well, Google's not even spending my $1,000 budget. What do you mean you want me to spend $2,000?" And
Wow,
so
okay.
you have to explain that it's because your budget doesn't roll over each day. It's done. And
Mhm.
so if you, in this $25 example, if you can get 2 clicks per day, that's $5 every day that it doesn't spend. So at the end of the month, you didn't actually spend that $500, right?
Right,
And so, when it's even bigger, when it's $1,000, um, it really doesn't matter whether or not your daily budget is big enough for Google to show you enough times for you to get clicks, because you're
right.
not going to get every single time.
So a sweet spot you mentioned that we've found is if Google sees your budget as at least 10 times what the average highest cost per click,
Right.
then they are unlikely to flag it as low budget, which means they will show your ad every time it is eligible on the keywords you've indicated that you want it shown. Where you
Until you get your daily budget, and that should get you, 10 probably will get you through the day. There's definitely some
Yep.
markets, but yeah.
Awesome. So then that also means I have 10 chances or 10 new patient opportunities versus 2 or 1,
Right.
which as much as we'd love for it to happen, not every single person who calls is going to book that appointment or become that patient, right? So,
Right. So if you think about, I mean, if you think about conversion rates, and a conversion is just a lead, it's not a new patient. So we have to like go down, we have to do the math out to figure out where we kind of want to be. And um so say that we have a 20% conversion rate because we have our location targeting dialed in, we have our ad schedule dialed in, we have the right keywords. A 20% conversion rate is really good. So if you if you had 10 clicks a day, two of those would be calls. So then what is their, how good are they at taking that lead and turning it into a new patient appointment? So
Right. And do they have the availability, appointments available? Are they answering the phone? Uh,
most ask for the appointment,
right.
all of those types of things. But and we work with, we all work with clients on that, and we listen to the calls, so we know kind of what's going on. But it's really great to see we have clients that, they book 3 out of 4 because they're great at asking questions and, saying overcoming objections. Somebody saying, "Oh, do you take my insurance?" And they're cash only, and this is my favorite one I've ever heard. Do we have time for me to give a little
Yes, please.
for
Please.
everybody? So if you have someone that calls and says, "Do you take this insurance?" and you don't take that insurance, or you're cash only, one of our chiropractors office is so brilliant at this. She always says, "Well, let me ask you this: what is your copay, and how have you met your deductible for the year?"
Mhm.
She'll say, honestly, you can use your HSA, FSA card with us, absolutely. And she's like, and we will give you the bill to submit to your insurance. And she said, however, if you haven't met your deductible and your copay is this, we are actually right in there. You'll be paying about the same. And let me tell you why we're great.
Awesome.
And so
Wow.
I
Love
it gives me chills listening to their phone calls because she does
that.
yeah, overcoming those objections, where the person is just literally calling to see if they take their insurance and they are ready to hang up and go to the next one. And
Right.
so it's little things like that really make a huge difference in
And
your
just showing, I can already get a feel for what type of practice this would be, or the experience and level of care that I would get from that. That's
right,
great.
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sharing. Awesome. Okay, so that was number 3, budget. So making sure you have a high enough budget. This is going to be based on cost per click. What you want is a high enough budget that obviously, if you're going to pay for them, you'd like your ad at the top.
Yep.
You want it shown every time it's eligible. So let's eliminate the need to have it flagged as limited budget. Um, and then enough times to have, so 1 plus 1 doesn't necessarily equal 2 in this regard, right? So if you're being seen by more, you'll see a higher conversion versus you have 1 chance or 2 chances really with 1 click or 2 clicks.
Right. And you also, I mean, this folds into it is when, if you're paying to be seen at the top of the page and you're paying to be seen 10 times a day, you need to have an offer that is competitive with the other people who are wanting that same click, whose ads are showing with you. And so, you know, I say all the time, I really should just have it on a recording, like push a button that I can get you to the top of the page as many times as your budget will allow, but I can't make somebody click. So you need to have an offer that's compelling for your market. And that really varies. It goes from anything from not having one, because nobody has one, to, a free consultation, to, you know, something wild and crazy like in Denver, where you have to do, to actually get the new patient, have something like a $29 exam, x-rays, first adjustment, plus a free 30-minute massage or something. I mean, it's just,
Wow.
but it really varies by where you are. But that's where like your local market really comes into play, because you could absolutely give Google all the budget in the world, and you could be seen at the top as often as possible, and you'll get some clicks. But when they see that you don't have the offer that the other ones are offering, you're not going to get that conversion.
Okay. So let's jump into, we'll kind of segue this into number 4. Let's talk about ad copy. So ad copy plus offer plus, that kind of all comes together, right? So what you're saying is, great, I have the budget, I'll spend the money, but my new patient special is $175. And then underneath me and coming in on number 2 says, well, mine is 39 and you get x-rays and a 30-minute massage or something, right? So that's what you're kind of saying is, so I think what we see here and what's kind of frustrating is it's frustrating to have to discount and devalue your service, right? Or give away too much. Or if I'm only charging now 39, I need so many more new patients to make this investment, this couple $1,000s a month, like worth it. So how do you kind of navigate that?
Yeah. I mean, well, you could move to a lower competition area, but realistically, I mean, it needs to be thought of as part of your advertising spend. That discount is part of what you're spending on advertising. And I hate devaluing chiropractic. It drives me crazy when it is a market where we really are just going to like to the bottom of the barrel. And you don't necessarily have to be the cheapest. You don't have to come in right below somebody else. You don't have to be the bottom barrel, but you do have to offer something that is compelling and a reason why they should choose you. And so that's where your ad copy comes in. And there's a lot of things that you could do, obviously, and offer. But you know, open evenings, open weekends, same day appointments, your star rating. If you have a 5-star rating, that's a huge one. Social proof. And
What about like online booking,
online.
accept insurance?
Yes, yes. The number of years experience you have, you are very limited in what you can say. And what we see so often is that the copy is not engaging and they don't have a call to action. And it's just kind of keyword stuffed with chiropractor Denver, call now. Yeah, yeah, chiropractor near me, chiropractor Denver. Um, just
So, but if they're in the ad copy putting in chiropractor near me, doesn't that help their SEO?
no. SEO and Google Ads are two completely different things.
So they have nothing.
You
So
have what you want is there's somebody searching for you and they're at the top of the page and people still don't realize that those are not necessarily organic, even though they say ad, even though they're sometimes in a different color or highlighted or whatever. People have been conditioned from the time Google came about that top of page means better.
okay.
And so what you want to do in your ad copy is you want to speak to whatever the person is searching for. So if you, just as an example, if you were doing sciatica ads, if you already have a great campaign with chiropractic and you are getting all of those and you have more budget to spend and you want to do sciatica ads, then you want somebody, searches sciatica relief and you want that ad to specifically speak about what that person searched for. So you want to talk about fast, effective pain relief, drug-free, natural, you know, we
So not
same day.
sciatica relief near me, not
Right,
okay.
right. You don't want to have a general chiropractic ad that's just chiropractor, maybe chiropractor
Sure.
for somebody who's searching for sciatica. So you want to make it much more seamless, and you can look at what how people are searching in areas. And it's so interesting to see in different areas like Florida, Orlando has a very specific way of searching versus Chicago. And
Okay.
so we look at that and we write ads to speak to how people are searching in those different areas. So like in some places, people want to book online, they don't want to talk to people, but in Florida, near the villages, they're only going to call. They don't, they don't trust the whole online. So
Yeah. This was a stretch for them.
computers are here to stay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you
So
want your
ad copy, having a compelling offer. So these are things we look at, right? So you're looking at the area. What are other people offering? Here's what we recommend to maintain competitive. You do not need to be the cheapest, but you have to have some kind of,
Need to
and
be
then I would
people.
say with ad copy, the emotional appeal is helpful there too, right? Not just a bunch of keywords. If I'm reading this, like chiropractor near me doesn't entice me to
Right. This
it.
goes back to intent, right? So when somebody is searching for a chiropractor near me or chiropractor open today, they need help. They are in pain. You don't search for that because you want to set up a wellness visit in a few weeks. You want to be seen. And so having your ad copy speak to that is incredibly important.
What if Google, like, does Google ever write your ad copy for you if you're not feeling like creative?
Yes, Google offers that. It is
Okay.
it is some
Oh,
of the worst writing I've ever seen. And I can um we have tried it. Google will constantly say, "Oh, well, let us write an ad. Let us write an ad. We think it'll get better traction." We know that it doesn't, partially because our team has been writing chiropractic ads and only chiropractic ads for so long. But yeah, leaving it up to Google is really
risky.
very low quality. Yeah.
Okay. What
They're only
about,
right. They're not interested in the conversion out of their
sure.
hands.
What about just keeping it simple? Like not using your full allotted character count or even too much, right? So what if you're just like chiropractor in Denver, I take same day appointments.
Okay. Simple is fine. However, short is not as good because what Google does is they have changed how you write ads. You used to write three headlines and it would go one, two, three, and then you would write the body copy, and that was it. So that's what your ad is going to look like every single time you see it. Now Google has changed to responsive search ads, and it is using what it knows of the person searching. So you put in up to 15 headlines and
Oh,
you put in four body copies, and Google will take between 2 and 3 of those headlines and between 1 and 2 of those body copies to make your ad. And it does this by taking what it knows of the person searching, because Google knows, we all know Google knows everything about us, right? It's like, oh, she's more likely to care that um, this person has 25 years of experience rather than their open weekends, or she's more likely to click because of this or that. So it will take from those 15 headlines and make 2 or 3 in one ad. And then
so
so
what
you
if I'm
want
not that creative? So if
it,
I only give them 3 instead of 15, I'm limiting myself.
and the your ad quality score is going to be lower, so Google's not going to show you as often. But here's what I say to anybody who is not feeling creative. Well, Google will give you some suggestions. You can determine on your own if they're good. Um, but that's what we're here for, is to be
Yeah,
creative for you. Just like if, writing the copy on your website and all that.
yeah,
We're here to be creative for you.
perfect. Okay, so real quick, last one, number 5, what we see commonly mistake. Um, we talked a little bit about that emotional connection. What about landing pages? Or what about when we say landing pages, when they, okay, we've done everything correct. We've got targeting, we've got budget, our ad is seen, the ad copy is great. They've clicked on our ad. What mistakes are we seeing from this point? Yeah.
The majority of people send them to either the homepage of their
Okay.
website, or they send them to an internal service page. Sorry about that.
No worries.
And so, like we were talking about seamless from the search query to the ad copy, you want that whatever page you send them to, you want that to be seamless. You want that to answer the question of the search query. So you would like to have Um, if they're a chiropractor open today, you want your ad to talk about how you are open and you have same day appointments, and you want the landing page to be specific, and say that again. Landing pages are built a bit differently than any other page on a website, or they should be. So, the website is an experience, and you go from the home page, and then you go look at, maybe a service page or the About Us page, and then you
Mhm.
make your decision as you go. So I kind of think of that as like your Sunday drive. And then, but the landing page you use for Google is more of the expressway. So you want to give them what they need to know to make a decision, and then a call to action, and make it super easy with either, phone numbers and, buttons to book online if they want to. And then you can get more specific as you go down. It's, and an inverted triangle, you get general call to action, a little bit more detailed call to action. So they can scroll down if they haven't gotten to what they need yet, until they have what they need. Most people don't scroll that far. So, if you're doing
So
sad,
if your ad is talking about, a special offer and you're open today and here it is, and then you send them to the land to your homepage, which your website is hopefully nice, right? But now they go, well, where'd that special offer go? What do I have to do to get it?
there's that
And
offer. Mhm.
okay, so the landing page will just give them the information they need to know much more quickly. And what we've seen is that it drastically can improve conversion and your return on investment, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. The difference between having a landing page and not, is exponential.
Okay. And then you said quality score too. So potentially this can make your budget go further.
Absolutely. So Google is looking at everything from, um, what keywords you're targeting. So what they are showing your ads for. Does your ad answer their search query? And then they're looking for they're looking for the best experience, because the searcher is using Google. They could choose to use something else. But they want to see the seamless answer of a search query from beginning to end. And so that goes into your quality score. The higher your quality score, the lower the cost per click you can get. So it will make your budget go further.
What about sending them to my Google business profile? Then they can just go directions or call now.
We've seen this a lot in smart campaigns recently, and it must be something that Google is suggesting, because we know these people have websites, and we know that they have good websites, but for some reason they are sending them to the Google My Business. I would never do that, because there's not a lot of information on there other than your hours. I mean, your star ratings on there, but we can have your star rating in your ads as well. There's just your phone number, whatever pictures you have put up there. It's not designed for conversion from an ad. If you're paying for that click, you want the conversion. You want them to become a lead. Like,
Yeah.
your money.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you so much, Jess. This is great. I'm sure we could go on
About this.
so
So if
many more.
anybody, I hope that there's any questions, because we will absolutely answer them, because we only brush the surface on this.
Sure. We said 5. We covered probably way more than 5 within those 5. So that's great. So I'll do a quick recap for you guys. So first of all, our first one was smart campaigns. For chiropractic specific, there's just a lot of limitations, unfortunately, that likely means you are not getting the most out of your budget and your campaign. So we would recommend against them. Caveat to that, I think you kind of mentioned on that, Jess. I know Google has reps that call and they give you recommendations. I think that the important thing to remember is what you started this with, Jess, is chiropractic versus e-commerce, just a product, that kind of thing. So a lot of times I think some of the advice that you're getting, take with a grain of salt, because they are trained to tell you to optimize the campaign, which would be most common. And that's what their smart campaigns are working toward, just a general product e-commerce kind of thing, not you need to come into my location and I need to have available hours and those kinds of things. So
Right. And
so
realize
smart,
that a Google rep is a rep for Google, and Google's job is to make money.
right?
So,
Fair enough. Okay, and then we covered keyword targeting, location targeting. So making sure you're going at the right keywords where there's search volume, also focusing on intent, the right locations, but equally as important, the negative keywords and negative locations. So, and then it sounds like that can be a ton of work. So if you are managing your own campaign, woo, good job. But definitely be monitoring, hey, where am I getting these clicks? Was that in, across the country? Was that in another country? Make sure, you're focused there. And then location, we're not going too far. Budget, realistic budget. One of my favorite things that you always say, Jess, is you might as well take yourself to a nice dinner and
yep.
talk to the table next to you or talk to your server about it if you're not going to set the right budget, because you're going to get more enjoyment out of that dinner and then potentially a new patient than handing it to Google for a bunch of non-quality clicks or things like that. So I know it can be scary sometimes when we talk about budgets. Hey, like we're asking for a large chunk of change. But the thing to remember here is that that is because that chunk of change is what is going to get the return. So if you're spending 3,000 and you're getting 6,000 back, is that worth it? What we always talk about here is we can't decide what the value of a new patient is for you. So you have to make that determination. We'll give you the information, we'll give you the recommendation. If and you have to determine, does that make sense? Okay, if I invest this amount of dollars, I need at least X number of new patients to make that worthwhile. We can't make that decision for you. You have to make that. But at the end of the day, the higher budget or the appropriate budget
Right.
is huge and crucial to be seen where you want to be seen enough times that you need to be seen to see some conversion. So budgeting, the right budget, the right bidding, that's huge. With that, add copy. So that's the next one. Add copy, offer. Make sure that you are remaining competitive. Obviously, local jurisdictions, different ones have, whether you can do an offer or not. That's nice because if you can't, then not everybody else has one. Pay attention to competition and what's being offered in your area. Make sure that you don't have to be the cheapest. Make sure you're highlighting, make that emotional appeal. What are the benefits to coming here? What am I offering? Make them want to click, right? So not just keyword stuffing, but that ad copy we see is
What makes
huge.
it special,
Right. And then last, the landing pages to just kind of tie it all together, that overall experience, that just helps push that conversion along. It gives them the information they need right away. They don't have to be like, oh, now I'm on the home page and where do I go from here?
Where did
So
my offer?
landing,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So, I love it. That's great. There's so much in there, you guys. If you have questions, please reach out, put them in the chat. We're happy to reach out and answer. So, what we at Perfect Patients are happy to always offer, Jess and her team is fabulous at this, and they love it. If you are managing your own campaign and you have some questions, oh, I don't know if I'm doing that correct. I wonder if, some of these things are ringing a bell, but I'm not quite sure. Or, hey, I don't know if I have the time to do all of this. We offer complimentary campaign audits. So if you're managing your own campaign, you can grant us read only access. We'll take a look at it, we'll audit it, and we will give some feedback of, uh, we won't write that copy for you, of course, but we'll say, hey, this can be improved. We'll give you an audit, we'll give you some actionable tips. And then if you want to take that and apply it, wonderful. Of course, the other offer that we have, so we'll audit your campaigns if you want, please. We're happy to do it. We love it. We just really, at Perfect Patients, we really value the chiropractic profession and we want to support it. And that is a way for us to give back and support this profession, right? The second offer that we have is if you do decide, okay, please handle this for me, write my ad copy, manage all the keywords, the negative keywords, and you would like us to run a campaign for you, we are doing a special offer where we'll take $100 off of your setup fee. We'll do a specific quote for you in your area and the recommended budget. We're happy to talk to you about all of that. So check out, we've got links to our landing page that has all that information. We've got links to, you can book an audit, you can book a meeting with us. So check that all out. And then of course, if you have questions, put them in the chat and we'll reach out and get back to you. So Jess, thank you so much. It's just a wealth of knowledge. I hope everybody found this helpful. Any parting words, Jess?
This has just been great. Can't wait to audit.
Yeah. We're here to help. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.